Hi, and welcome to a small, medium, at large podcast. I'm your host, Gail Hyson, bringing you intimate interviews beyond normal boundaries. I want to thank all of you listeners for subscribing, liking, sharing, sending us your comments, which we really appreciate, and I try to answer everyone as they come. And I want to say that we're in the year 2025 now. We started in 21, so this is our starting of our fourth year of doing shows. And I want to tell you that I have to thank my son Richard and my daughter Nancy because they post and they produce the show for me, and that's how a small, medium, at large comes out to you. So thank you, listeners, and I want to tell you today about our special guest. Our special guest is returning here. This is his third visit, and we really welcome hearing from him. He's in Egypt right now, where he lives, and Dr. Khalid holds a PhD in Egyptology. His master's degree was on topics from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. In the last few years, he has been a tour guide in Egypt. Dr. Khalid Elsaid leads small and large groups to the most amazing magical places in Egypt, as well as taking his guests to see the most beautiful countryside of Egypt. He brings years of research and his knowledge of the history and culture of Egypt to his tours. This is Dr. Khalid's third visit to Small, Medium, at Large podcast. Our last talk was about modern Egyptian beliefs on life and death, episode number 53. Today will be in episode 90 something, and we'll be discussing the mysteries and the secrets of the Great Pyramids. Let's welcome Dr. Khalid here today. Welcome.
Welcome. I'm really glad to be with you for third time, and the topic today is very interesting. Uh, Hopefully, audience will like it.
It's very exciting. I have some questions and whatever everything that inspires you to speak about, besides any of my questions, please feel free. But I want to
Sure.
start with questions about the pyramid. The first question I have is there any, was there written information in stone or papyrus or anything about the Great Pyramid that was, left in histories for people to know about? Or are all these things just people's assumptions about what they think happened?
Uh, exactly. Nothing written, nothing left for us explaining anything about the pyramid. The
Nothing.
pyramid is totally mystery,
Wow.
and which is very interesting that every time you solve a mystery, you get tens of hundreds of mysteries behind. يعني, for example, يعني if some theories about how they move the stones from the other side of the Nile, from Muqattam Hills, through the Nile, from the hill that up high, then to the Nile, through on big ships, then from the big ships to the other side of the Nile, and from the other side on the Nile, on the valley, to the top of the Giza Plateau. So that's really a mystery. Then when we got some theories about building ramps from Muqattam Hills to the Nile, then from the Nile to the Giza Plateau. Still, which kind of ramp will hold 50 tons of stones, one after the others?
One
Uh,
stone. What's the weight of one stone?
about 50 tons. Yeah,
50
between five,
tons from one stone?
one stone.
Oh my
The
God.
stone between 5 and 50 tons.
So it could
So
be
that
anywhere from 10,000 pounds to 100,000 pounds.
exactly that's about. We don't have machines. We don't have uh, the only thing we have men. So we don't use balls. Yeah, we didn't see any scene got balls. So we see only humans, people uh,
So
drag the
no
stones by
animals, no
no
bulls,
animals.
no
Only
animals.
pole, only poles. Maybe poles help it in some point, but we didn't see in any scene in any temple or any. tomb uh, uh, bulls bowling the stones. Only people,
Only
and
people.
most probably the theory also that we build this we drag the stones on wooden logs, so rolled. That's also when you think about it, it's difficult. How 50 tons on wooden logs, it will sink in the sand. So you need the concrete to, يعني concrete ramps to do that, not sand. So still, when you solve a mystery, another mysteries will come up, and you have to solve it too. So until today, most of the mysteries we face, we found, we didn't solve. So I don't look, I like to follow documents. I like
Hmm.
to, I'm a Egyptologist, so I can't just have this theories here and there. But really, I don't blame anyone say aliens who did the job. Why? Because my answer is not enough to say no, we did it this way. So also everything done in that pyramid almost impossible. يعني very tough.
Was there
Uh,
any drawings or symbols or anything that support the theories that others have that it was extraterrestrial forces or something from another planet or whatever the words would be for that, whether it's alien or is there any suggestions in any drawings of unusual symbols that might refer to that?
no, not really. No, no,
No.
at all. But some stuff, uh, maybe the ancient Egyptians in that times used to have some kind of technology we don't know about, like
Mm.
some technology light in the stone, so avoid the gravity, deal with the gravity, so the stone will be lighter, so it's easy. It will be easy in that way to move the stones. Also, we didn't. That's not only in the pyramids, by the way. In all the tombs, we
Hmm.
didn't find a trace of carbon. So that mean in that darkness inside, how they did the job. So that's it's very dark inside. No oxygen in the rooms, in the corridors. So how they did that perfect jobs? They put the stones in perfect way. So if I believe that you visited the Great Pyramid, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. I have some questions about my
Yeah.
trip
So
there.
yeah. So the burial chamber in perfect shape. The stones, the granite, they put together in perfect shape. You can't pass a paper between. Shiny like a mirror. So we don't have steel, by the way. We don't have that kind of technology or metals or whatever. We know that it can do that. We used to have only diorite. Diorite do the job for us
So
to
didn't they
carve.
use fire for light inside the pyramid? Or you're saying that
Yeah,
it was,
yeah, they didn't use fire. So most probably also used to have source of light. That mystery also faced us to solve in Valley of the Kings. Fantastic, huge tombs under the ground, like snakes, passing each other. How
yes.
they move? I don't want to change the subject. We're talking about the pyramids, but also all related. So how come in that darkness under the ground, uh, very deep, and you don't have traces of carbon? So that's another myth.
So
يعني.
is it carbon that would show that they had used fire for light? Is that what you mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Huh.
So
So there's
so
no evidence of them using fire for light
at
inside
all,
at
they,
all.
they, they didn't use fire at all. So most probably they used to have source also of electricity inside.
Uh-huh.
So or some kind of lighting. So maybe kind of, but the stones which can light don't give you that enough light to do the job. So So still, they used to have source of electricity. So used to have a way to lighten the gravity. So for sure,
So
but
there's a
no,
mystery about how the stones were moved there. There's a mystery
exactly,
about how it was able to be constructed to go to the top like that. And then it's a
exactly,
mystery of how they lit up in the pitch black darkness and created the interior chambers.
exactly, and
And
also, hmm,
yes, go ahead.
while you are building that massive building, you are building also the rooms inside and the
Mhm.
corridors. So not only symmetrical in design, in perfect design structure, but also while you are building that, you did the measures for the shafts and the corridors and the burial chamber, which is perfect also. The burial chamber, huge as you saw, and get huge pieces of stones. It could be each one 50 tons, 50 tons. So to lighten, to lighten the pressure on this room, we get gaps. We build the gaps inside over this room, empty shafts. So to lighten the pressure on the room, uh, shaft after the other, uh, and we get in Egypt we get earthquakes every 200-300 years. Uh, uh, no single stone collapses. The structure is still in perfect shape until today, after all
Mhm.
those earthquakes. So
Were the pyramids built originally? I mean, I don't know if we know, for a burial tomb for the kings, or was that,
mm,
does anyone, was that the main idea?
that's the main idea, because some people say no, it is not a burial chamber. It is a source of, يعني, could be a genetic design for to a source of energy or communication with some, yeah, some theories about communication center with uh,
With the planets and the
with the
stars?
planets, exactly. So I could be, but it's a burial place for the king. That's how that's the evolution of that is clear for us, because it's we got the coffin of the king, we got the cartouche of the king, and also his father did a good job in the Dahshur. If you visited the Dahshur, he got a pyramid exactly as these pyramids, but not complicated in design. So,
Mhm.
but exactly the angle of the sides, the inside, the corridor inside one of the big rooms inside, in perfect shape, in Senefru, in the other pyramid, Senefru pyramid. That's how Khufu got the design from. He got it from the father. He got the design from the father, but he built it as complicated building. He decided to have the most complicated structure on Earth to last forever. That's another mystery. That the pyramid is just an idea in the head of Khufu. So that's he got an idea to have the biggest, the most complicated structure no one can demolish on Earth. Believe it, yani, how come
Was he a
this
king or a pharaoh or?
of course, he's one of our great kings.
Ah.
And the greatest in the old kingdom. يعني يعني Ramses II, the greatest king in Egypt, and he's the greatest king in the new kingdom.
Mhm.
يعني so this pyramid about 4,500 years from today. That's very old time. And to have an idea like that and to achieve that project until today, that's the biggest structure on earth. To walk around, that's a kilometer. The height,
That's
the height is 149.3 and meters, and the distance between the Earth and Sun, 149.3 million kilometers. So that is that a coincidence? يعني يعني I don't believe so. It's calculated. So those the pharaohs in the time did some complicated uh, يعني mysteries we can solve really, like what I
Mhm.
said. Also the directions of the pyramids. يعني north, south, east, west, exactly with the most modern technology today. Uh, they are located uh, in those positions. Especially the magnetic north. The
Mhm.
north of this pyramid directed to the magnetic north. That's very hard to calculate. Yani.
So were these when I went to two different I went to uh the pyramids of Giza, and that was those the three pyramids, right?
Yeah.
And were those considered to have been constructed at different lifetimes of kings, or were they all constructed at the same time? Or
No, different times. Yani, it's three pyramids for the three pharaohs: Khufu, Khaifra, Mankara. It's
Mhm,
uh, family site. Most probably, Khufu, the builder of the Great Pyramid, designed the whole design
mhm.
uh, because the sizes of the pyramids and the location of the pyramids. So three pyramids exactly in the same positions of the Orion belt stars.
Ah, of Orion's
So
belt.
exactly, yeah, the sizes and the sizes or and the locations exactly as the three stars. So that they wanna say that we are in heaven now. So
Mhm.
and also as a king, I don't like to build for myself a smaller uh, pyramid. It's not a matter of respect. I'm a king of Egypt, and I want to show that I am the best king for this country. Uh,
I saw some film footage on a show, I don't know, sometime this last year, and I kept saying how thankful it is that nobody in warring times ever damaged the pyramids, because you could not replace this. And
mm,
if they were to have dropped a bomb on any of those pyramids, we would that history would be just dissolved. And so I
mm.
saw the footage of the Sphinx, because they had started, I think there was war, or did some damage happen to the Sphinx during military time or wartime or something?
Uh, 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 I don't want to say that, but all the stories about that, talking about military damage,
Yeah.
false stories. It's
Oh.
propaganda against the يعني I'm not with the French actually, not يعني, but still that's a propaganda against the French in the time Napoleon Bonaparte. Because look, Napoleon Bonaparte came to Egypt with 60 some scientists, scientists in many fields. Why? To study the pyramids and the ancient Egyptian civilization.
Mhm,
And he did a great job. He drew all the monuments. And when he entered Egypt and he reached Cairo, first thing he did, he asked to visit the pyramids. So he respects our civilization. And he visited the pyramids and Sphinx. And in respect. So the myth is the false story talking about or saying that he directed his cannon to the face of Sphinx, and he dropped his nose. So how come you drop in that? They don't have this kind of we don't have this kind of technology to just drop the nose by a weapon. Yani. So yeah, it's propaganda. So
okay.
yeah, I don't. Yani,
Well,
uh,
I just think how
Sphinx as this.
these ancient places all over the world, how what a loss it is whenever there's any kind of damage from the stupidity of a war or a conflict or something, and how you can't replace something like that after, whether it's a mosque or a temple or a church or a religious place, those places
Mm,
that are so old and hold so much history should be respected all over the world. Which makes me ask another question, and then I have some more about the pyramids. I was watching another show recently where they discovered, because of the new technology now, I'm
mm,
wondering, I know they went over areas in the jungles of South America, I think, and Central America, and they found places and cities that they could never see before in the jungle, but because of LiDAR or special technologies they have now, they're able to see through into these places. And I'm wondering what discoveries, when I was in Egypt, I met with the head of the Ministry of Antiquities, and we got
mm,
to see a Sachmet that had just been uncovered, and was
mm,
and it was such an exciting thing to see this ancient
mm.
statue. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering, what has there in the last, say, 10 years or 5 years even, where there's been all this new technology, has there been more research into the pyramids with these technology that doesn't damage anything, but it actually can see through and find new
Mm.
hallways or rooms or other things? Has any of that happened?
I believe happened recently, a few months ago. Uh, I they discovered some shafts under the pyramid, huge shafts,
Huge
uh,
what? Huge what?
huge shafts.
Ch-
يعني go,
chest?
shafts, shaft. يعني like
Shafts.
shafts. Yeah,
Shafts. Okay.
spaces. يعني
Spaces.
huge corridors and uh, uh, some activities under the Giza plateau, under the pyramids.
Mhm.
And they didn't really announce what's going on, but we believe that it will be a huge discovery. They didn't announce yet what is there. So usually, when we discover something like that, we study that first. Then, when we are ready to deal with it, so we announce it. So most of I see some work. If you went to the pyramids uh, now, you find some tents around, some people working somehow. So and I hear يعني يعني not for 100% sure, but I heard from some people I trust that they got an important discovery under the pyramids. Huge shaft could not just a tomb. It's huge. So some activities used to be there. We will discover it and we'll announce it very soon. But
I
I
wonder
believe
if they connect underground, if the three pyramids have tunnels connecting each other, or
exactly. But remember, we mainly we work on tourism.
Mhm.
So if we started to work in that, we will will close a huge part of the pyramids to work in that territory, while we are doing good in tourism. So when we get the perfect timing
Mhm.
to announce that and to work on it, uh, we will announce that. Plus
That
our teams, all our teams working in Luxor, by the way, and
that
Sakar.
That'll be so exciting. I love the footage that you sent. I think we talked about it in our last show, where they finally uncovered all the little sphinxes, or on the way to the pyramid, to the
Yeah, yeah,
Luxor, and that
yeah.
was the
The Sphinx's
mysteries
way.
that, yeah, people were just walking over them for all those years, not knowing that this beautiful street was underneath. And now I mean, just to live there has to be amazing.
Exactly.
It's just the
Yeah.
discoveries are, and it's not over. Lots of more mysteries are coming at you with the new equipment and technology that there is. There's going to be more things to try to solve, though I do believe some mysteries are supposed to just be that. They're supposed to remain a mystery
Yeah.
or be magical.
And remember, we are a developing country.
Hmm.
We rely on, of course, we spend يعني last 30 years we spent many billions of dollars on like to get the Sphinxes back, to the Sphinxes road back. We spent
Yes.
billions of dollars. We relocated huge villages. يعني huge. We used to have a huge church, huge mosque on that. So we have to move that. People also will not be happy with that. So we did it. We have to do it. So we keep spending on that. We have to rebuild all of that. So in one project, remember, يعني imagine if we work all over the country doing that. So that's difficult. The UNESCO is helping us, uh, like what they did in Abu Simbel. So they did a good job in Abu Simbel. So and they are helping us. They helped us in the Sphinx's road. They got some of they give us some of the cost to do the job, but still tough job to do. Need
Yes.
professionals to do the job. We don't have enough number.
Hmm.
Not as Egyptians, but the whole world. How many Egyptologists they got? يعني if every country send me their Egyptologists, it will be maximum 200 teams or so. Still not enough. So that
Wow.
the pyramids. Hmm.
It's vast. You're talking about, giant, vast
Exactly.
monuments. I have to say, I do something called remote viewing with these scientists, and it's where
Yeah.
they have a undisclosed photograph, and then the remote viewer, draws what the photo should be. In
Yeah.
fact, and I also did this in something called a Gansfield experiment, where you're completely sealed off in a room and you telepathically have to figure out what the picture is. And
Yeah.
it's been the Great Pyramid numerous times. And
Uh,
I couldn't believe it. And one of the times was right before we were leaving for Egypt. I did a remote viewing and it was the Great Pyramid came up in the photo. So I've
uh,
drawn and been connected to it on a invisible level and
yeah.
have done this with science. So I'm
Yeah.
extra fond of it. But I want to go back to a couple of questions about the history of the pyramid.
Sure.
Is there any idea when the construction began and how long that it took to complete this, or is that still all unknown information?
No, it's known. يعني the construction started about 2,500 years BC,
Uh-huh.
and continued for like 28 years. So we got a clue also of how they built the pyramid, who built the pyramid. That we got a clue of that because we
Oh,
traced. We got the village, the workers. So the workers' village. So where the workers used to stay during doing the construction. So they used to stay in certain village. They Hawass discovered, by the way. It's close to Sphinx. The village close to Sphinx
mhm.
somehow. It's not open yet. We discovered it about, يعني, say 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And the village got parts of for the dentists, for the doctors, uh, traces of food. They used to eat perfect food, by the way, great, good food, uh, uh, meat, vegetables. So the builders of the pyramid are Egyptians, came to work for. That's We don't have money in the time, so that's the money you used to get. So you used to have a nice place to stay, food, drinks. They take care of their health. You're not slaves. You not take care of the health of a
Mhm.
slave. Plus, also the country in that used to work during the flooding time. So the water used to cover the whole valley, and they're out of business. They used to come from all over Egypt to do the construction and to have shelters, food, uh, which is the money. So they used to work during the day in the site, and in the end of the day, we found the gates where the security used to give the tools and collect the tools in the end of the day. Then they stay in the village very close. So no slaves, no slaves. We don't have slaves in ancient Egypt, by the way. The
Mhm.
slaves who used to do the job in the new kingdom, who used to be captives from the wars. Like some Ramses II, he's a warrior. Egypt became an empire during his time, from Syria to Ethiopia. So once he conquered a, a country, so the captives, not the people of this colony, the captives during the war, instead of killing them, most of the uh, emperors used to kill uh, the captives. So Egyptians used to use them as workers, used to build the temples and during New Kingdom. But in that time, we got no slaves. Egyptians got if we did talk about that maybe last time. Egyptians used to believe in the ma'at. The ma'at is the justice. Yeah, no translation for the ma'at, but the closest translation for the ma'at is justice. So
Mhm.
they used to have human rights. So women rights, kids rights, animal rights. So all of that used to be in their beliefs. So no chance to have slaves.
Mhm.
Uh, you know that if the pharaoh cause pain or suffering for any of his servants, he will not pass the judgment day. So they are very careful to uh, to uh, to make the Egyptians comfort and living in almost in equal as them.
So now that brings me to my next question, because when I was thinking about before you coming on, I was thinking about, oh, I didn't realize this. Well, I've been watching a lot of different history shows, and it was talking about this isn't really very old compared to Egypt, but it was the building of the Golden Gate Bridge. And I live about
Um,
an hour north of the Golden Gate Bridge. And I'm
mm,
watching the video, and I had no idea how many lives had been lost in the building of the bridge. Like many,
uh,
many people had died. And I was wondering if there is any ideas of this in the building of the pyramids. Like, did they say thousands of people died doing this, or did they say very few people died building this? Or is there any history or written anything about how many lives might have been lost in this construction?
Not really. We didn't find the traces for that. Yeah, we don't have information for that. But at least we found a village, a little village for doctors and dentists. So
Mm-hmm.
they used to deal with any case like that. So, but we didn't find traces for that. We got no idea about the casualties of the structure.
About the
So,
structure.
yeah, but it's a huge, of course, supposed to have some casualties. Thousands and thousands used to come from all over the valley. Most of the males used to come of men. Men used to come from all over the valley to build the structure during the flooding time. The country used to be very civilized, by the way, or
Mm-hmm.
organized, and
Mm-hmm.
the families used to stay where they are, and the soldiers used to take care of them. The soldiers of the faith take care of the security of them and to feed them until the men finish the job and uh, they go back to their villages and continue the life. And the construction continued actually during the 28 years. Through the years, the construction is the site is active, but in the flooding time, the main job used to be done by all the men all over the valley. So you can imagine how big the number. يعني huge number of Egyptians shared in building that pyramid.
Well, um, okay. So,
And mm,
uh, when I was in the pyramid of Giza, we went up, I think it was called the King's Chamber, but I'm not sure. And you went up a long wood rickety kind of ladder straight up, very dark and narrow, but they have like little lights along the side.
Mm.
And for whatever
Inside the
reason,
pyramid.
yeah,
Mm.
inside the pyramid, I'm usually would have a claustrophobic attack, but I didn't. I felt very comfortable in the pyramid. And then when we went up into the room, it wasn't that big of a room when you think how big the pyramid is. It was just a
Mm.
small room, and there was this carved out of stone. I don't know what kind of stone, unless you do, maybe.
Sarcophagus. That's granite.
That's
Granite.
granite. And it looked
Yeah.
like a bathtub or so. I mean, it was like a,
Yeah. That's
and it
that's how.
wasn't super big, and
No.
nobody was there, so I crawled inside it because I
Mm.
just wanted to be inside that stone. And we didn't have a
Mm.
guide, so I didn't know any of the information. Next time we come,
Mm.
we'll have to go with you,
Yeah.
and then we'll learn
Yeah.
everything that we're seeing. But
You have to do that.
I had this experience of sound. And
Mm.
I've spoken to other people who've gone to the pyramids, and specifically for that, where they went there to make sounds or
Mm.
to play a certain instrument or something for the sound in the pyramids. But this was something where I just like opened up and sound came out of me that I would never normally be able to make. And the
Mm.
sounds came out, and some couple was coming up the ladder and heard it. And when they came in after I finished, they said that it was so wonderful and they felt so soothed by this sound that I don't think I had anything to do with, but it has something to do with the intensity and power of that place. And I
Mm.
like I've always I just try to imagine myself back in that stone
Mm.
sarcophagus, I guess. Uh,
Mm.
and what that and I felt like I had to press all my arms and legs against the walls to just
Mm.
fully feel it. And no one else in my family except my son was willing to jump in after I did. But it was not
Mm.
something like that. It was like a call. I mean, I had to do it. It wasn't, and I was just glad that there was no one to yell at me that said, you can't go in there.
Yeah.
It was a magical moment where there was only one other tourist beside my
Yeah.
family and just us in that room.
Yeah.
And I- there was I mean, I can't reproduce that feeling. It was an incredible
Mm.
experience. And so
To,
there's a lot of spiritual magic there. And
exactly.
some people may not feel it, and some people do feel it. I think everyone has their own.
No, I believe everybody feel it. Uh, I am there almost sometime every day. Sometime every
Yes.
day. Some magical effect. You feel that you are excited and happy, and uh, you get some. You feel that you are touched by magic. By the way, uh, always. I never got bored when I feel good. And also some mystery about the burial chamber. Also, as you said, like if you put a piece of meat
Please don't.
in the burial chamber, it will never get rotten. It, it it will
Really?
stay as it is. Yeah, and it will get dry after a while, but it will never get rotten. Some kind of energy in the burial chamber, that's for sure. Yeah, and what you said is exactly what what the burial chamber is. So
Mhm.
some kind of energy inside, which always when you are inside and outside, I believe. So, but in the burial chamber, some magical effect will touch you.
Yes.
No, remember, Egyptians are magicians. They used to believe that they are magicians. In our books, all the books which mentioned ancient Egyptians, يعني Torah, Bible, Old Testimony, Quran, mentioned that they are magicians. They did magic. So I believe they used to do some kind of يعني effect uh, and energy which is what we call magic. So
Mhm.
the sticks they use. the Osirian position, or Osiris carry two sticks. That's the sticks where they do the magic with. So yeah, that's what you said is uh, exactly what I feel too.
Hmm.
So you need to repeat that.
Yes.
So
Well, I want to go back again. I've always wanted to go back in there again just because that was, but it was such a special moment. It might only have happened that one time, but uh, just to be able
and you
to
bring
lay in there was,
and bring your community.
yeah,
So
bring the whole community up, right? I'd
in a
rather
group.
have them fill the room. So I just want to tell something to our listeners that behind us, I brought this picture up of a very dear friend. He's actually climbing the Great Pyramid, and the other pyramid is in the distance. And he's got his galabe on, and he's my dear friend Greg Hudson, who passed away about, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, sometime. But it was the greatest time of his life was his trip to Egypt, and he climbed it with a famous Egyptian who I know is no longer alive today, but I believe his name was Chance. And he, at that time, was the fastest person to get to the top of the pyramid. So that's why he was in the Guinness Book of World Records. Now it might have
Mm.
changed because it's so many years later. And Chance probably did that in the 70s or the 60s or 70s or something. But I wanted
We
to
stopped
honor,
all of that. No
yeah,
one can climb more than the
anymore.
second level. Yeah, it's uh, we stopped all of that. So
Yes.
we caused lots of damage for the building. So we stopped all of that really. Yeah, but it's every once in a while someone sneak and goes up, and security bring him down. So it happens, but illegally. So
I Well, I want to say how difficult, and I was so, he left me this photograph of him being there, so I wanted to honor him today in our show. But
mm,
when I went to the Great Pyramid, I imagine somehow like like when I'm looking at photographs, I'm thinking the stones are, oh, like this. When you go there and you see that, how could your leg even raise up to get to the next level on the stones? I mean, you have to be
yeah,
very
it's difficult.
tall,
Yeah, difficult.
very
And
tall and long-legged.
if you have a
So,
phobia from the from heights, so it will be very difficult. You need to if you are used to heights, maybe it will be okay to manage, but still it's very high and difficult. يعني. But also
and they don't
before
allow
leaving
it
that point,
anymore.
yeah, before leaving that point, which is the burial chamber, I do also
Mhm.
private tours in the inside the pyramids. Like after
Oh.
we close the pyramids, we can do private tours inside the pyramids, and also they can open for me the rooms which closed for the tourists. So we can book like 2 hours in the dawn. Usually, we do it in the dawn, Bera. So early morning, so we enjoy the sun
Mhm.
rise, plus also enjoy the inside of the pyramid. So you can visit all the rooms, which is closed for the tourists for 2 hours. Of course, we pay for that, but if it is a group, it will not be that costly. Yani, but costly, of course, we have to pay for it. It's a privilege, uh, which is, I believe, nice to have this kind of experience when
Yes,
you visit the pyramids. Mm.
can you tell us a little bit about the tours that you've taken? And have you had, I assume that it's just not the United States. You have uh, guests that come to be on your tours from all over the world. So can you tell
Exactly.
us a little bit about what your tour company does and the different sizes and groups that you've taken from whether they're small or large, or can you talk to us a little bit about your tour group?
Yeah, I do tours for anyone request a tour. Uh, I do it as up to his interests. So of course, if you if you have just the problem that most of the time, tourists don't have that long vacation. So,
Mhm.
so, so we don't do all the sites. Egypt, a place you can visit, يعني, up to 3 times.
Yes.
And now when we get fantastic beaches, I believe our beaches today, the best in the world. But we got no propaganda for that, no advertising. I don't know why, and nobody talk about it, because we are competing with Bahamas, Maldives, Mexico beaches, especially for the Americans. Uh, so the media doesn't talk about our beaches. Otherwise, the companies there will lose business, because Sharm el Sheikh, Red Sea, Hurghada, and now North Coast. I believe the best in the world, the best in the world, because we have the sun, the weather perfect, the underwater colored fish and coral reefs, and our sun, like, got magic also. I mean, I feel happy when I go to Sharm el Sheikh for no
I'm
reason.
so surprised when you sent those photos. How do you say it? Sharim? Sharim?
Sharm el Sheikh,
Sharm el-Sheikh. When you
yeah,
sent
and
those photos, I could not believe that that was Egypt.
yeah,
I had no idea that there were such beautiful beaches and high-end resorts in the water, the colors of the water were unbelievable. And I kept thinking to myself, nobody told us about this. I was always going to the desert there.
yeah, exactly. And
And that,
you go to Maldives, you spend tenth of يعني uh, huge amount of money just
mhm,
to be on a nice beach. That's all. Quite nice beach. All this money you spend for that, that's waste. That's waste for your wealth. You come to Egypt, you spend quara, maybe less really of that, and you do the best beaches on the world, and on the side you get the pyramids, you get Luxor, you get Aswan. That's the side, you know.
yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah.
so Egypt also. So my tours suitable for uh, short vacation and long vacation. So, for example, if you get just a week or 5 days, less than that, 4 days, because sometimes Dubai is doing good in conferences, which is very
Mhm.
close. So sometimes I get tourists will do a conference in Dubai, whatever the country, from the States, from India, they work in big companies, and they do conferences in Dubai, in United Arab Emirates, and they have like 3 4 days to do each. So I do that also. I did a few times. So we do 1 day, 2 days Cairo, so we cover Cairo, 2 days Luxor, and back. So of course, if you have more time, we can do Cairo, Luxor, Aswan, and also will be fantastic to have 3 nights, which is not that long, on Nile cruise from Aswan to Luxor, or Luxor to Aswan. But I prefer from Aswan to Luxor, because it's only 3 nights,
Mhm.
4 nights from Luxor to Aswan, and we have fantastic cruises. يعني, 7 stars. So fantastic food, and the cost not that big really. Uh, and after we finish that classic, we call this tour classic tour, which is doing the pyramids in Cairo. You do the mosques, the synagogue, the all historical, all since يعني, the synagogue since Moses. So the spot of the synagogue we have in old Cairo since Moses.
I
The
never
the
saw
church
that.
the church beside since Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ hid it there actually. That's historical. The mosque there, which is very close in one spot. You get the three buildings, the mosque, since the Arabs, since Muhammad actually, since the first Arab entered Africa, built a mosque in that spot. So that's, we call it the religion complex. So Egypt, not only pyramids, actually, the pyramids is the peak of your tour, but still, if you count what you will do, In Sinai, when we do Sharm el-Sheikh also, we do Saint Catherine uh, uh, mountain, which is close to Moses mountain, where God talked to Moses. So
Mhm.
that's a pilgrim. You pilgrim to that place. You don't. It's not tourism. So it's pilgrimage. Uh, Also, we as I said, we do Luxor. Luxor, you can spend a week. Yani we compress the visit. So you do Valley of the Kings, Valley of the Sea, Valley of the Queens, Deir el Medina, where the village, where the workers used to do the job of the carving of the stones. Habu Temple is amazing, amazing temple. And most companies don't do it because they don't have time. I have to do it. I can't go to Luxor without Habu Temple. The spirit you get is something like the Great Pyramid. The spirit you get inside that temple, that's something separate than the beauty of the temple. So also you feel like kind of calm and it got magical effects on you. Also Aswan, you do Abu Simbel, you do the Fila temple, which is amazing temple. The city itself is warm and nice during winter. Uh, and usually I finish this classic tour with uh, uh, to relax after this tour. We do Sharm el Sheikh or Hurghada. I prefer Sharm el Sheikh because Sharm el Sheikh is, I believe, it's very modern, very modern, and it doesn't belong to a developing country. So
Mhm.
the way we manage Sharm el Sheikh is always amaze me. The security, the management, the streets, the hotels they have. We have in Egypt, maybe no one, yani, no one tell. We have the best hotels in the world. So for much less money than any other site. Yani our
Mhm.
competitors who uh, Turkey, Morocco, Tunisia. So they don't have what we have. Plus also it costs you more. Like you go to Morocco, all you do is, and people attracted to Morocco actually. They love to visit Morocco once in a life. But what they have is they have beaches, beautiful beaches, weather, and some Arabian activities, desert, whatever. But they don't have any of what we have. Turkey also, while it is interesting site, but still they don't have this combination we have. Uh, so I do best tours actually to do a tour, which is to say that I visited Egypt. I did most of the sites. You need 2 weeks,
Yeah.
2 weeks, 13 days. So I can compress all of that for you. And I get always I like to give gaps, like 1 day every, yani, because you visit lots of, yani, it's like a fantastic dream you have. Yeah, when you finish this tour and you go home, it's a fantastic dream. You don't believe that you did that. You go from one spot to another. Also, I combine my tour. It's historical, for, mainly historical. I combine my tour by different tours, like
Mhm.
food tour. يعني I pick my restaurants carefully because I like to
We had
introduce. Oh, yeah, I like
us
to,
falafel. I mean, I'm just saying, I
yeah,
have memories of falafel, the delicious
yeah,
food. I
Tajin
want
for
to
the vision.
mention to our listeners that on the description site, there will be your website link. And on the website, you can see photos of many of the places that Dr. Khalid is talking about right now. And you'll be able to see very happy tourists that are there enjoying themselves in different areas all around Egypt. I,
Yeah, that's exactly. I
I,
have to be sure that my tourist is happy. You know, that's
yes.
my main job. My main job. So
And
happiness is the main job. Is the main, yani, fixed factor for the tour. You need to go back home happy, healthier. I don't want to say younger. So because that's not me will do this kind of job. The son, our son
Mhm.
is really healer. So heals.
What months, if a person wants to travel but they don't like the crowds and they don't like tremendous heat, when would be the ideal months to travel to Egypt?
Uh, yeah, actually, the season starts from September to May. That's the season
September to May.
to May. Uh, if you ask me what part of the year, but what part of the season, I believe, يعني right after the summer, يعني if we said September, October, that's perfect. Why?
Right.
Uh, day is longer. Look,
Mhm.
in the winter, day is short. To secure the sites, you have to close earlier before the light. So we close the sites 4:30 or 4. So I like to spend more hours each site. So
Mhm.
the day is long during September and October, still long. So we close the sites about 6:30. Still have nights to spend. Yani, not bad, but still we need long day to do visits. So September, October, and also March, April, May. December is good also. يعني September, October, November. November is good.
Do you
يعني September, October, November, March, April, May. I prefer those, but still from December to February, still the best timing because the weather it's warm during the day,
well,
little cold.
I saw in your photos that a tremendous amount of tourism has returned to Egypt, and the sites had lots and lots of people, so business must be doing has picked
Doing
up,
good,
must be doing well
but
again.
but we fought, we suffered. يعني we got new record in tourism in 2023. New record. We didn't find a place in a plane or in a hotel. So I while we stayed for a long time, tourism wasn't that good. So especially during Corona and after Corona, but we got new record in tourism. I didn't believe what's going on. So uh, we work day and nights. Uh, come all the hotels filled with people. Then the war started in Middle East.
Uh,
So which the war is far far away, in distant and politically. We are not involved in that war, and the war is far away. So people didn't believe that. So tourism went down, but not that down. Yani it wasn't bad. Yani like down about 30%. So it wasn't bad. So but still we didn't continue the glory days of tourism.
mhm.
Then after 6 months, people realized that Egypt is 100% safe. So tourism started to pick up this year, يعني this season 2024 2025 doing very good. So even before the war stops, we did very good. So and I believe if uh, the war stopped already. Actually, it seems like it will stop for long. So tourism back this month is we are busy. The country is filled with tourists.
Oh,
So
I had I had another question I forgot from a little while ago, so I'm sorry I'm backing up.
no problem.
But when we stayed at like a bed and breakfast sort of kind of thing. It was some man's house who just had a few rooms that he rented out to
Mm,
people. You know, it wasn't like a hotel kind of thing, but it was
mm,
exactly across from the Sphinx. And
mm.
so every morning that when we woke up, you could just look out our window and there was nothing there but the Sphinx. There was nothing between us, no other buildings, nothing.
Yeah,
We loved it. It was it was a, low budgety kind of place, nothing fancy in any way, but the location was unbelievable. I recently heard something about that. Are they uncovering more of the Sphinx or something about that the feet or the legs or something were really deeper underground, or do you know something? Was it something like that?
Not really. I mean, look, Sphinx is one piece of stone.
Right.
It's little hill. That's a mystery. Other mystery also. Sphinx is a mystery also because it's about the time of building the second pyramid. So the builder of the second pyramid who built Sphinx, which is
Oh,
about the 20 years, 20 يعني زي يعني say 10 years after building the Great Pyramid. يعني about the same era. So hundreds of workers started to work on that hill, little one piece of stone, uh, ended by a symmetrical uh, closal, biggest closal ever. So in fantastic carving, fully colored, head of the king, body of a lion. But
yes.
actually, I have to mention that Egyptians in ancient Egypt used to build in any statue in perfect way. Yani you see the statues of Ramses II. He's handsome, muscle, the ratios of the body perfect, the ratios of the face in perfect shape. Why Ramses II used to be slim and tall? Uh, he got a curvy nose, so it doesn't look like what we see in the statues. But the statue got some of the facial features, but it should be in perfect shape. So that's pretty much Sphinx. Sphinx got the perfect face of Khafra, Kefren, and the body of the lion in perfect shape. The body is elegant, looks like lion, but it's more like a cat. So it's elegant body, long, and the bows are long, beautiful, like more like a cat also or a dog. Not, but it's supposed to be lion. The rear is totally lion. You see the tail of the lion on the rear, and also it looks like a lion. The whole lions are emblem of eternity. يعني your head on a lion mean you'll live forever. So that's its name. Um, uh, Shesib Anch, the living image of the king. Sphinx, that's a Greek name. يعني the Greek
And
called that statue Sphinx. And since then
so
we call it Sphinx.
so am I understanding that a giant large stone was either brought there or was actually sitting there
Mm.
and then they
Si-
carved it?
yeah, exactly. It's a huge hill. It's a native rock. That's part of the native rock. We carve it as a closer.
Mm.
And then after polycolor, then after a while, it started to lose the shape because of the rain, the wind, since ancient Egypt. So they started to cast. They started to cast the statue. So the core is there as it is, got the shape of the line, but it's still casted, casted since then. Then each each era casted also. Since ancient Egypt, the Greeks did a job of the casting, the Romans did a job, and today we do the casting also. When we find a rotten statue stone, we replace it. So that's how you find Sphinx. Some stones are fresh, looks like white, and some stones dark, more into light brown. So different stones in different colors, in different يعني, nature, because added since ancient Egypt until today.
Mm.
We did a good job to save the statue. We also because the water table got high because we built uh, lots of houses around because we built the high dam in Aswan, so the valley became dry. The Nile doesn't flood every year, doesn't send water every day to cover the green. So people built their houses around since the beginning of the 20th century, and the water table got higher. So we 15 years. We I got very sad because in the time about to lose the statue. The water
Mm.
table got higher and
Rising.
started to damage the core of Sphinx. Then we did a great job with UNESCO because you can't suck the water, it will fall. Yani, you can't suck the water directly. You have to suck and fill it with not cement. You can't use cement, but we use certain chemical, whatever component to fill under Sphinx and suck the water. And today we did a great job. We finished. Yani finished
Wow.
about 10 years ago. Uh, the statue is very safe today. So I'm glad that we did that kind of job. But
Hmm.
we crossed fingers. We in the time we were about to lose the statue.
Hmm.
So
Wow. I didn't
nice
know
to
about that, and I'm glad nothing happened to it.
not, nothing to. Yani, you can imagine what we are saying, but to visit, that's another thing. I recommend for the audience to come to visit themselves. Uh, it's lifetime tour. So
Yes.
and that now is the best time. Now, if the war started again, or if someone worry about his safety, that's the best time. Egypt is 100% safe. We Egypt is cleansed from terrorism, terrorists, any activities. Uh, Remember, we got some uprising 10, 15 years ago. So the security forces and the country, the government could have a total control in the territory, and also no single activity for any of the terrorists group in Egypt. It could be in any country, by the way. No country is safe of them and their activities, but Egypt. So when I say Egypt is the safest spot on earth, I'm not exaggerating the point.
Mhm.
What you think about your safety in Egypt, it is not safe or whatever, or the country. That's illusion. That's illusion built in the 80s and 90s and early 2000 some, when we used to have some uprising or problems. But now the country is 100% safe in the streets, in the very poor streets of Cairo. The crimes are zero. Yani,
Wow.
the small crimes, which in any country, any developing country, in any big city, I mean, we don't have it. Catch and run, the smallest crime, catch and run, we don't have it. So I feel 100% safe. But
That's
always
wonderful.
in, yeah, in my tools, we are trained. We are trained to be uh, bodyguards also. So always my the country is safe, and my tourist is in with me is totally safe. Yani I do the
And
measures
very,
which
very educational.
exactly. Yani that's the part, the main part, which is that's I'm specialized in that in my in
Yes.
history and
Yes.
also in guidance. I teach guidance in college, by the way. So plus I love this job. Uh, I like to meet different people every day. I love to have a group. So that's also for me.
You make friends
I,
all around the world, and I mean, you'll make friends all around the world that you can keep
e-
up with on email.
exactly. And
So,
look, many of my tourists come back. Many of them.
yes, and you
Yeah,
have very nice reviews on your website. So I have
yeah.
one last question, and then we're at our hour, and I want to see if there's anything else you want to share with the audience, or any words of wisdom, or anything about the pyramids, any last things you might like to say. But this is my last question. Are the I know tourism is a very important part of the uh,
Income.
income for the country of Egypt. Do the local people have Like, do they say, "Oh God, I'd never go to the pyramids. Are you kidding me? Why would I want to go there?" Or like, I lived in New York my whole life, and I never went to the Empire State Building till I got married and came back. And my father-in-law said, "Let's go to the Empire State Building," and I was like, "Oh wow, I never went there." So I'm
Exactly. Yeah,
just
that's
wondering
happening.
what the local people feel about the tourists. Like, do they feel special, like about the pyramids, or do they feel?
Yeah, yeah. The like to visit every once a while. يعني in feasts. يعني imagine that in feasts they go in number. يعني it's like immigration for the villages and the countrysides and schools and colleges do trips also. But you see big number in vacations and the weekends and holidays of the Egyptians invading the site of the pyramids. They love to spend some time around the pyramid.
Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
the site attracting the locals. Uh, but always I have my way to avoid any crowds. So even tourists. So that's I have to add also. So I have my way to and the timing I do to be alone or at least in quiet spots in each site I visit.
That's
I
great.
use yeah, so I don't really share the crowd uh, the tour. So always my group or I get lots of individuals actually. And if I have a group also I adjust the tour to do يعني the quiet parts. The timing of the day also make a difference. Like when I visit the pyramids. They open 8 in the pyramids. Always I visit the pyramids 7:30. So I am the first one to get in. So otherwise, an army will come, and and you know what? I have to mention that the Chinese now they come in number. يعني I call the Chinese tourism that's invasion. It's not a tourism. They come like a team passes at once and they visit one side. Thousands and thousands now invading our sites, which is good. So so you need to pick the right time, right place to avoid the crowd. The sites are getting crowd, and later I have to mention, to be honest, people later no chance. Have, uh, people think that I'm pushing them to do business with me. Really, the chance is now. Egypt is developing. The sites are developing. The economy is developing. Later on, Egypt will not be like Egypt today. So
Mhm.
so if you spend, for example, 8,000 or whatever for the tour, later it will be 25. Later, when I say later, maybe next year, and
Right.
not maybe for sure next year really to the chance to visit. Plus, I have in my tours I like to pick the best places, best hotel, best night cruise. The chance to have that's happened to me last year, uh, uh, and right before the war. I didn't find a room. I didn't find. I have to pick. Yes, nice room, but then not in a Nile cruise, but not the cruise I like. So we have some cruises, some hotels make a difference in the two. So if
Well,
if
I
if if you didn't come now, when there is somehow chance to find availability, the availability will be. You need to wait for a year to to book a
get and
tour
to get
also.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
to make it right. Yeah.
I have to say, my son Richard and my daughter Tasha were with us on our trip to Egypt, and
Mm,
we've taken them to other places. And just for any of you listeners out there, as teenagers, they loved going to Egypt and have often
mm.
commented that that's a place they'd really like to go back to for a second trip. That there was just too
Great
much
with
to
you, man.
see. And we were there for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. I can't
I
remember.
used to do it.
And we had a friend who lived there, so she was our guide. And
Yeah.
um So we weren't tourists or on a tour trip or anything like that. But I have to say that it left them with fabulous impression that they would love to return.
Great,
I
great.
recommend it for now they're older adults, but back then they were, I don't know, 19 and 16 or something. And I forget how old they were, but they were teenagers and they absolutely loved the trip. So,
And hopefully peace will take over. Yani, hopefully we used to do a trip to Egypt, Jordan, and Israel. So you do it at once. But after the war, you can do, يعني, difficult to do Israel now. Jordan, maybe you can do Jordan, so which will take like 2 days. But hopefully, peace will take over. Peace in the air. I feel that things will be. I believe things will be better. So also that's another step to do the three countries together. But
mhm,
that could be later, actually. So
yes.
I believe not less than a year. So, but for now, we do Egypt and maybe Jordan if you like to visit Petra. That's easy from Sharm el Sheikh to Petra. That's very close. So that's another chance to visit two countries or more in at once.
At once.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else that you'd like to tell our listeners before we sign off on our show today? I do want
Uh,
our listeners to know that I'm at a normal hour here talking to Dr. Khalid, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning for him in Egypt
yeah.
right now. So,
I have to be sure that I'm free because we are busy now. Lots of
yes, but I'm
tourists
just
and
saying it's
tourism.
wonderful that you could join us even at this
Yeah,
late
I have
hour.
to be, I need to be sure that I'm free. So
Yes.
no
Well, I know.
choice.
So this was wonderful to see you again. And I feel like every year we should have our check-in podcast together so I hear what the newest things that are going on in Egypt are.
Yeah, and even less than that. I mean, يعني, every few months is maybe better
Yes. And I
to meet. Yeah.
so I
So what?
appreciate I
So
appreciate
I
the
have to repeat.
online
I
friendship we've made here.
thank you. That's it's my honor really. We it's friendship more than anything. Yeah.
Yes.
And if you want me to say something, I don't want to repeat what I said, but Egypt is 100% safe, and the chance is now.
Great.
And all the mysteries we talk about, I believe better to see it yourself, get
Yes.
the experience yourself. So the chance is now.
Wonderful. And everyone will find the information on the YouTube description site, and we'll have your Facebook and web page so that they can see the photos and they'll be able to contact you directly from the Facebook if they're interested in booking a tour, correct?
Exactly. And feel free to ask. يعني, think loud. If you have a question about anything, that's my job to clear
Perfect.
everything. Yeah, if you do business with me or not, not a problem. Also, I am selling my business and I'm selling Egypt too. So,
Yes.
so
Yes.
always I'm ready to answer any question about your tour or Egypt or يعني, feel free. يعني.
Wonderful. It's very wonderful. So I want to thank you for
Great.
being here today. I want to
Thank you.
thank all our listeners for joining us, liking, sharing. I'm hoping that you'll post this on your website and we'll have some Egyptian followers see our show together. And
Great.
I want to thank my family again for supporting me and liking, sharing, subscribing, posting, and doing all the work that they do for me. I'm very, very grateful. I also want to tell you we have a lot of exciting guests coming up this year, and we're going to be hitting our 100th show very soon. And we're going to have a little special montage on the 100th episode of what we did over these last couple of years. So I want to thank everyone for sticking with us. We're at 1,350 subscribers now and hope for that to increase. And I want to thank you all. And remember, everyone, share your stories because stories can heal. Have a wonderful time and a great week. Bye.